All right, Shalom. Shalom, giving all praises, glory, and honors unto Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Kakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the 144,000, the rest of the hopeful elect. This is your brother Zawan from GMS Atlanta. Back with another edifying video. An update to the coming MOTB and the digital system, which the MOTB is the micro C-hip implant, which will be inserted under the skin behind your forehead in your brain or in your physical hands. Now, what I have here is a few articles from biometricupdate.com. And as always say, before they can before they can introduce and mandate the MOTB, which is the micro C-hip implant, the infrastructure that will be utilized by the MOTB implant must be set up first. It must be set up by the different governments around the world. All countries must have a streamlined, interoperable system in order for the plan of the elites to work. So what these countries, different countries around the world, have been doing over the last few years, especially this year, 2024, which, by the way, is the hopeful year of Jacob's trouble, and we're seeing a lot of trouble come to the so-called black Spaniards and Native Americans, which are the Israelites, the true Israelites. A lot of trouble has been coming our way. So what these countries have been doing all this year is they've been introducing national digital ID systems and been given grants by the World Bank, and they've been setting up biometrics, which is an infrastructure that will be utilized by the micro C-hip implant, which once again is the MOTB, or is prophesied in Revelation 13, 16 on down, the mark, which is of the beast, which is a system. These governments in Europe, which make up NATO, including America, God in those governments is known as the woman on the beast. You can read about that in Revelation, the 17th chapter. These countries are fulfilling these prophecies. So, like I said, I have a few articles here. Now, it says Fiji sets 3-year timeline for National Digital ID Project. And I believe it's going to be a way shorter time than Fiji. It's going to be a way shorter time than 3 years for Fiji to introduce this digital ID project, because all of these countries are piloting these programs and setting things up, and a lot of countries have things set up for 2025. So I can see it happening, sooner than that. So now it says Fiji has hosted a workshop for its National Digital ID project, leading to a time frame being established for completion of the project. In attendance at the Inception workshop with members from government ministries, as well as key stakeholders from the Reserve Bank of Fiji. So like I said, these banks are getting involved with these governments, and they're setting up these programs and these systems that the MOTB will be implemented through. Like I said before, utilizing. It says, and the Asian Development Bank. Representatives from commercial banks and the private sector were also present as foundational aspects of the National Digital ID were discussed. It says, our goal is to create a secure and scalable national database that supports accurate and inclusive identification processes. Shaheen Ali, Permanent Secretary for Trade, Cooperatives, Micro, Small, and Medium Enterprises and Communications, said in the statement. So like, as you should all know, they want this new world agenda, right? This order out of chaos agenda. They want everyone to be tracked. They want the information set up through an online database. And as the scripture says, that they want to be like the Most High. So that's why you hear things like interoperable, cooperative, inclusive. These are buzzwords for the agenda, right? The lease of Esau and these other nations. It says the National Digital ID will help create a more inclusive society by increasing access to services. What services? Governmental services. Because like it says in Revelation, you know what? Let me get the scripture, right? Like it says in Revelation, the 13th chapter, you won't be able to use any of the services throughout the world, buying and selling, unless you have this device. It says Revelation 13 and 16, he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, and free and bond, to receive a MARK, which when you look up this word in the Greek word is charagma, which means something cut into the body. So they're going to cut a device, it says, in their right hand or in their foreheads. We've seen this already in the forehead with Neuralink. Just Google Elon Musk and Neuralink, and all the information will come up. And you can Google Michael C. Hip in the right hand, and all the different articles and news articles will come up. See, we're in a time where the prophecies are becoming more and more clear and more obvious. But you still have Israelites that act like they can't see it. And maybe, the Lord has blinded them. But I believe they've all sold out to this governmental system, Esau, Edom, his governmental system. And they have Satan and demons on their minds, blinding them from bringing out the truth. But we should know that in this truth that the Lord is only looking for the chosen elect few Israelites, and everyone else, like Yahushua said, they be blind leaders of the blind, and they both shall fall into a ditch. So they're not bringing out the truth when it comes to the MOTB, whether it be the IUIC Israelites, the IHUPK Israelites, the HOI Israelites, so forth and so on. The WFI Israelites, they're all teaching against what GMS says the MOTB is, which we have the truth. We're telling the truth. And I'm bringing out the information here. Now listen to what it says in verse 17. And that no man might buy or sell, so you won't be able to do any kind of business, all right, unless you comply, which I brought that out a few weeks back, dealing with the word worship also goes into compliance when you read Revelation, the 15th chapter. Because one of the definitions says to be in obedience, right? Which means to obey. And when you obey someone, you're complying with their will. So if you are in obedience or compliance to this coming digital ID system, and then you get this mainly when you get this microchip in your hand or your forehead, then you're going to be destroyed by the Lord because you're choosing a foreign master. Speaking about you Israelites. So keep listening to these false prophets and you're going to be destroyed. It says, and that no man might buy or sell. Save means accept. EXCEPT. Except he had the mark, which is anyone. He is anyone, man or woman, or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So you have to be tied into this system. Here is wisdom, let him that hath understanding. So you have to have wisdom first. And a lot of you Israelites, you lack wisdom. Hell, you lack knowledge and wisdom. You lack knowledge, wisdom, and understanding when it comes to these prophecies, especially this one that I'm reading here. It says, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. And that's the number that Esau uses for the UPC code system. When you go into the actual Greek characters and what they mean in the Greek, it goes into piercing or pricking. So everything ties into a physical device being put in your body. All right? But first, the system, the infrastructure, so you can buy and sell, has to be set up. And that's what I'm bringing out here. So back here in the article, it says the National Digital ID will help create a more inclusive society by increasing access to services and economic opportunities, buying and selling, right? Particularly for citizens in rural and maritime areas. So they want to get everybody. Remember, we just read small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. No matter where you live, we know if you're in the city, they're definitely going to give it to you, the MOTB to you in the city, the implant. But they also want to get those that think that they can live off grid or may live in more rural or remote areas, right? It says as well as MSMEs and cooperatives, he continued. So, this is just dealing with Fiji, okay? And the islands over there in the Pacific, okay? It says additional benefits include improving our resilience to natural disasters. Oh, now you got this Hurricane Milton supposed to be striking through Florida, bringing heavy devastation. Now, if they had this system in place, well, I'll read it here. It says additional benefits include improving our resilience. Now, there was a report out there that said if you're in the path of the storm, then you need to put a name tag on your body somewhere that has your name, a phone number of contacts, family members, references, your date of birth, age, and all of that. So you can be identified if you're, killed by this storm. Now, if they had the MOTB system in place and you had the microchip, then that, according to them, would be a benefit because then they'll be able to respond and be more resilient when things like this happen. So now, you can kind of see where things are tying in. And this is just from Fiji. Fiji is in the Pacific. It's prone to storms and typhoons and cyclones and things like that, which is just other words for hurricanes, right? Mudslides, things like that. But in the spirit, I'm reading this, and it's really all current news, but it all ties in. It says additional benefits include improving our resilience to natural disasters and supporting our sustainable development goals. Right. And what's their sustainable development goals? Their the New World Agenda, particularly environmental targets through more efficient policies and better access to data. Yeah, knowing who you are at all, and where you are at all times, and what you do, how you move. The workshop established that the project is expected to take at least 36 months to complete. I believe through the Spirit that the Lord is going to speed things up. Okay? Just like he sped up this Hurricane Milton from a Category 1 to a Category 5 in less than 24 hours. Amen. The Lord is going to speed the time up. He says that he shall shorten the days. That's in Matthew, the 24th chapter. Except those days shall be shortened for the elect's sake. Okay? It says in that the stakeholders will work closely to establish a project team, governance structures, and a communication plan moving forward. Following that, the enabling legislation will be drafted. Fiji has help from ADB, which has experience with implementing national digital ID systems, and the organization shared best practices from successful programs that's been implemented worldwide, according to the press release. Previously, the Singapore Cooperation Enterprise conducted a feasibility study for the digital ID project. So more countries are getting into this national ID, digital ID program system. Let's go to the next article. It says Laxton to accompany Ethiopia on 90 million digital ID target by 2030. So now Ethiopia, okay, all countries, all of this system, national digital ID systems tie into the MOTB. Okay? It says Laxton says his partnership with the Ethiopia National ID Program has been crucial in the rollout of a MOSIP-based national digital ID program. Let's see what this is. Modular open source identification platform. Okay, so I just wanted to look that up. You see it there. It says it is a base national digital ID program, a national digital ID program in the country, which has seen the enrollment of 8 million persons already. So they're already starting. So it'll be a smoother transition to say, you know what, based on this particular reason, whether it's a crisis or however the Lord has these nations do it, these governments do it, they're going to say, you know what, you got to get this implant. So I'm pretty sure pretty much the same way they had people line up to get the jump shot. You know, people are already used to getting pricked, so they're going to get you pricked with this micro C hip. You're already in the National Digital ID system. See how things are, you know. It says in a case study, the Citizen Identity Solutions provider says it is leveraging its identity registration expertise to ensure that the country reaches its target of issuing the FADA digital ID to at least 90 million people by 2030. It says at the moment, about 90% of Ethiopia's nearly 130 million citizens lack a legal or digital ID. See, they don't know who you are. They can't track anyone. Everything is still paperwork, you know? But they wanted to bring everyone to this database system. It says, which makes Laxton's work even more crucial in bringing the huge identity gap. Recently, a government official said the FADA ID is a key aspect of a digital government strategy soon to be launched. So, as you can see, all these countries are doing the same thing. They want everybody included in this system. Right? So that was in Africa. Let's go to another African nation. It says Gabon puts digital ID at forefront of its digital transformation journey. Since June, citizens in the Central African nation of Gabon have been able to obtain a new generation national ID as well as a digital ID number. Oh, remember, I talked about the number of the beast. So these digital IDs are going to be tied into that 603 system. Just like now here in the U.S., we have Social Security numbers, where they're going to also do the same thing. It says this is something that had not happened for at least the past 10 years. The launch of the physical and digital ID in Gabon thus heralds a new start for the country's march towards a digital future where government and private sector services, they keep pushing in them services, it says can easily be accessed. You will not be able to buy and sell unless you're a part of this beast system. Okay? Let's go to the next one. India to pilot DigiYatra for foreign nationals in 2025. More opportunities coming for biometrics providers. So this is biometrics here, right? Out in India. India is planning an international pilot project for June 2025 that will see the introduction of facial recognition technology beyond domestic traveling in the region. DigiYatra Foundation CEO Suresh Kadakbavi said the pilot project will initially commence between two countries, and there is progress being made with the Bureau of Immigration and the visa issuing agencies to enable the service for international visitors flying to and from India, Business Standard reports. So you want to go back to India, you see your family, maybe your grandmother, your grandfather, distant cousins. If you're an East Indian, which are the Elamites in the Bible, according to this, the truth of the scriptures. If you want to go back to the country of India, they have this biometric system that they're setting up. Along with, they also have national digital IDs too being set up. This follows DigiYatra's domestic rollout, which allows Indian passengers to board using facial recognition at select airports. I'm on this detox. Gotta get that herbal detox in. Anyway, so as you can see, biometrics is a big part of this worldwide global digital system that they're implementing, which also would include the microCM implant. That's also under the category of biometrics. It's going to go beyond fingerprints, go beyond facial mapping and facial recognition. Okay? It says the program currently operates at 24 airports, including Delhi, Varanasi, and Bengaluru. The plan is to add 4 to 5 more domestic airports in the coming months. So, here you go. Let's go to the next one. Bhutan. See, all countries, you don't hear much news about Bhutan or unless you're in Asia. But you see, they're rolling these systems out in Africa, Asia, okay, the island countries. Then it's going to come here to the States, to the Western world. But Esau is setting up these other nations first, all right? Things are rolling out around the world. Remember, the scripture said this is a global temptation, right? Let me get that scripture. Revelation, the 3rd chapter. Because once they get this system in place, this digital ID system in place, And then they introduced the micro C-hip implant. Then, then the world is going to choose. And us that are in the faith, all right, we're going to be tempted based upon you won't be able to buy, sell, or do anything within the system unless you have that charagma. Revelation 3:10, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also would keep thee from the hour of temptation. That's a time, all right, a trial of piercing, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. When you look this up, right, I believe is in, let's see, temptation, right, dealing with the hour of temptation, and you look this up, let's see here, I just want to make sure I'm getting the correct word, because it'll tell you that this means of a trial by piercing. So it says an experiment, an attempt, trial, proving the trial of man's fidelity, integrity. Yeah, because if you don't have faith in Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua in the day that this thing is put out here, then you're going to be tempted to take it. And, this is the Lord trying our faith. Okay? Now, the Greek word here is peirasmos, and the root word is peirazo, which means what? To test, to prove, to tempt, right? The tempter. To try whether a thing can be done, to attempt, endeavor. Yeah, it's Esau's endeavor of his new world agenda, but it's the Lord trying his select, trying the faithful, to try to test one's faith, virtue of character. And you have a lot of Israelites that have sold out and are not breaking these scriptures down correctly and not getting the real understanding of this word. Okay, here's another root word. All right. Which is pira. Okay, here we go. From the base through the idea of piercing. This is what I was looking for. So when you break it down to the root, they're going to pierce you, tempt you to get a piercing, right, which is a micro C-hip. Piercing can refer to a body piercing, right, which means what? Penetrating. Yeah, and what are they going to pierce you with? Penetrate you with? Under your skin, the micro C-hip. Okay? The final root word here is peron, which means beyond, on the other side. Here we go. An apparently accusative case, obviously derivative of piro, to pierce. To pierce through. Right, on the other side. So what are they going to do? Right, because when you go on the other side, you have to go through something. You have to pierce through an obstacle, so to speak. Well, the obstacle is your skin, and they're going to pierce that micro C-hip under your skin. Okay? See, GMS gives you the whole truth. We're going to give you the whole breakdown, go into the words, the different languages, the Greek, and making sure you understand what is happening here. It's all through the Spirit. Okay? So it says Bhutan brings first national digital ID program to global acceptance network. And all these articles are within the last month. Okay? Yeah, we have major news over here, but there's also major prophetic news going on around the world, not just here in the U.S. So you got to have hey, when you're in this truth and you're trying to understand prophecy, you have to have a macro outlook on a lot of things because the Lord is dealing with nations, right? He's dealing with nations, races of people, governments. He's not just dealing with your everyday life, what you go through day to day. The Lord wants our focus as watchmen, as prophets, to look on everything, right? Did not he tell Jeremiah that he made him a prophet to the nations? Well, we're also, in the stead of Jeremiah, we're also prophets to the nations. Okay? So I'll just read this here. It says, the Kingdom of Bhutan is the first national digital identity program in the world to join the Global Acceptance Network, which is operated by a dedicated foundation. And I wonder who founded that foundation. I wonder who funds it. All right, I'm pretty sure it's Esau, one of the elite banking families. Somewhere lurking behind the scenes, It says the Global Acceptance Network is a cross-sector initiative in support of making verifiable data available. Listen, they want to include everyone. They want everything to be verified. They want your data in a database. Listen to these keywords in these articles. Trusted and, here's that word again, interoperable. This system has to be an interoperable global digital system so you can go anywhere in the world and they know who you are, where you're going. Okay? This is the plan, the agenda of the elites of Esau. It says the GAN was soft launched on September 17th with more than 30 founding member organizations. Okay? It says Bhutan launched an innovative National Digital ID, NDI, system based on self-sovereign identity, SSI, in 2023, and it has since been working through the practical challenges of decentralized identity on a national scale. So they want everyone to be a part of this. It says the country announces membership in the network at the Bhutan Innovation Forum this week. So all these forums, these councils, these meetings, World Economic Forum, Bhutan Innovation Forum, okay? Summit meetings on the mountain of these governments, right? It says Bhutan is joining the GAN as an ecosystem member, which positions it to integrate its National Digital ID, NDI, with other digital ID systems and trust ecosystems, according to the announcement. An ecosystem, this is talking about a system of a network of computers and digital technology that can connect together, right? Like, for example, if you have a certain number of Samsung or Apple products, they call that, the Samsung ecosystem, right? The Apple computer ecosystem, okay? It says doing so would allow Bhutanese people to use their digital credentials around the world. So let's say they implement this same system here in America. You'll be able to use your digital ID credentials around the world. If you're in Nigeria, you'll be able to use your national digital ID credentials around the world. If you're in Australia, if you're in China, if you're in Germany, all right? If you're in Brazil, if you're in Chile, if you're in Colombia, if you're in Venezuela, you'll be able to use your digital ID credentials, around the world. That's what they're setting up. So everything has to be interoperable. They have to verify you. They need your data. Okay? Last one. Papua New Guinea advances digital ID, wallet, and government platform to pilot. the Sevis portal, Sevis Pass, the Sevis wallet. Everything is connected. Buying and selling is connected to your other private information. Your private information gives you access to governmental services. Your governmental services will be included in a database that's going to have everything, all your information on it. It says Papua New Guinea, or Papua, New Guinea, has stood up a new digital ID, wallet, and online government platform, and plans to pilot them with 10,000 users starting in the next few weeks, according to an announcement on LinkedIn. You have a lot of corporate members, a lot of corporate entities on LinkedIn. They all have this LinkedIn profile. Certain jobs, you have to have a LinkedIn profile, things like that. It's all connected. So it's definitely going to deal with, you work. You won't be able to go to work in the future if you're not a part of this digital ID system. If you don't have the micro chip, you won't have access to government services. You want that EBT, you want that WIC, you're going to have to be tied into these systems, right? And that's dealing with here in America. It's the same thing around the world. Check it out. It says pilots of the Sevis Pass digital ID, the Sevis portal, and Sevis wallet all launched this week on a limited basis. Right, it's a pilot program. The Sevis Pass is derived from the National ID program and existing physical IDs. So they're just transitioning. I mentioned this in the video before. They want to do away with the paper ID, the physical IDs. They want everything to be on a digital ID system. All right? So they're transitioning from the physical ID system and program to a digital ID program. It says the Sevis Pass. Notice it's pass. That means you won't have access unless you have this pass. Okay? The Sevis Pass is derived from the National ID program and existing physical IDs, and Papua New Guinea residents can use it to access government services through the Sevis portal. The Sevis wallet app stores the Sevis Pass. There you go. So, you can read this here. They say over the next 12 to 18 months, a digital ecosystem of public and private services will be constructed to help boost the national economy, says Stephen Matanao, chairman of the Public Service ICT Steering Committee at the country's Department of Information and Communities Technology. DICT, D-I-C-T. Yeah, for dictate. They're going to dictate everything. They're going to cause all to get it. This is from seven. It says 7 government servers are already available through the Sevis portal. So, this was, update to the coming MOTB and the digital ID system is going to be attached to. I pray that this was edifying. Pay attention, read between the lines in the spirit. I pray that, you were edified and that you understand what I was saying and that you can get a clear picture and see. I'm going to give all praises, glory, and honors unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, elders of Great Millstone. Once again, shalom to the 144,000, the hopeful elect out there. Continue to watch and pray. Pray. Remove your egos. Trust in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Until next time, I say shalom.